What is going on, Dolphins fans? Jacob here, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. A move that is certainly long overdue. A move that when we first made it, I was so excited. So much potential, hopefully left in the bag when it comes to Odell Beckham Jr. We saw how great he was at the top of his game. Mediocre season with the Ravens after taking a whole year off with the torn ACL after winning the Super Bowl. Great performance in the first half of that game when the Rams won the Super Bowl over the Bengals. So much excitement, so much flair coming in with Odell Beckham Jr. Such a perfect seemingly fit with Tua Tagovailoa, and that just was not at all the case. Nine catches, 55 yards, and a horrible season from Odell Beckham. Like I just mentioned, I was so excited when we brought Odell in. When Tua first came in as a rookie, I thought of Odell and Tua as a pairing that would be just so beautiful, make so much sense. Somebody in the prime of his career, in Odell Beckham Jr., who had the ability to get open from the line of scrimmage as soon as the ball was snapped. Quick hands, quick feet, his ability to get open, explosive playmaking, and flair. I felt like it would be so natural of a connection that you could bring down here to Miami as a wide receiver. But of course, those years were behind him, and it really could have been expected if we're being completely honest with ourselves. He had that great Super Bowl with the Rams, that great first half, tears his ACL, misses the entire next season with that torn ACL, flirts around a lot with joining teams like the Cowboys and even the Ravens at the time, and there was a real big hype train as to where Odell was going to land, all for naught, as he did miss that entire season. But then he plays last year with the Ravens, and it was okay. He finished around 500 yards or so. It was a decent season by Odell, but I felt there was a little bit of juice left in the orange to squeeze. Just enough. And, this Dolphins team desperately needed a wide receiver 3. Desperately needed another option for Tua, because we saw over the last few years when Tua was forced to go to options that were not named Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, it was an absolute snooze fest. Durham Smythe's not getting it done in the receiving game. Guys in the past like Robbie Anderson just were not getting it done. The curse of the number 3 for the Miami Dolphins wide receivers is real. Will Fuller, Robbie Anderson, Odell Beckham Jr. We have not seen a wide receiver wear the number 3 and have a good season. We've seen veterans that have had good seasons in the past come in, and what have they done with the Miami Dolphins? They have flopped. All three of them that, well, 2 of the 3 I was pretty excited about. I was really excited about Will Fuller. I was ecstatic about Will Fuller. What he did with Deshaun Watson, still in the prime of his career relatively, his ability to go deep and really open up an offense, I thought would be such a perfect transition for him coming here with the Miami Dolphins with Tua. That didn't work. Odell Beckham, again, like I mentioned, the ability to get open, the hands, the athleticism, the playmaking ability, the flair, just him being down here in Miami, it made so much sense. One of my favorite players when I was in high school, seeing him make that highlight reel catch against the Dallas Cowboys, there was so much excitement from me and a lot of Dolphins fans, and I feel like it was rightly so at the time. But ultimately, 9 catches, 55 yards, only really one meaningful catch, a first down against the Rams, which helped the Dolphins eventually go on to win a very, very, very lackluster time with his Dolphins from Odell Beckham Jr. And we've seen this so much when it comes to greats of the sport. Now, Odell's not quite a Hall of Famer. He's certainly in his prime a really good wide receiver, made some big plays, made some big catches, has some really great games. Everybody's going to remember that game against the Carolina Panthers when he was going back and forth with Josh Norman. Everybody's going to remember arguably the greatest catch of all time against the Dallas Cowboys. That's who Odell was. He had the ability to do so. But now, towards the end of his career, just like so many greats, just like when you saw Jerry Rice go up to the Seattle Seahawks, just like when you saw Randy Moss on his last stop going to the San Francisco 49ers, just like we see right now with Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets, just had a good game against us last week, but otherwise, it's been a rough end to careers when it comes to all-time greats. Tom Brady is really the only one that was still pretty great at the end of his career and went out on his own terms. So many great players just play till they run the wheels off. Looking at Adrian Peterson going from the Cardinals to the Saints, these guys that don't know when to hang up the shoes, don't know when to give up, and it does look like it's Odell's time to do so. But he probably won't. He's probably going to end up getting picked up by another team, probably going to get picked up by a team that's in the Super Bowl race, whether he clears waivers or not. I can very much see the Kansas City Chiefs bring him in. I can very much see the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions bring him in under the idea of, oh, this is Odell Beckham Jr. He is great. He was great. This is what we saw when the Eagles and Tampa Bay Buccaneers brought in another all-time great, another Hall of Famer in Julio Jones. You're hoping to squeeze just a little bit of the orange, but as we just saw as Dolphins fans, there is no more juice left with Odell. Bringing in Odell is just another example of how Chris Grier has continued to shoot this team in the foot. Money that could have been allocated to bring back Andrew Nginkle, just make a little bit of a difference on the offer from what Minnesota was giving him versus what we were giving him. Maybe you bring back Andrew Nginkle on a 3-year contract, and the issues we have getting to the passer is not as big of an issue. Issues in the secondary that could be resolved by having Brandon Jones here instead he walks to the Denver Broncos. Money that we saw left on the table when young players that we have drafted and developed go on to other teams and have immediate success, that money was spent on somebody who is aging, clearly on the downslope of his career in Odell Beckham Jr. Another misstep by Chris Grier. He has to be fired at the end of this year. So many missteps in his career over the last 5 years specifically. He gets the highlights, he gets the pass by going out and getting Tyreek Hill. He gets the pass because of the 2021 draft class where he finds Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, and Javon Holland. Outside of that, no good draft classes, 3 first-round picks in 2020. Tua is fantastic. Austin Jackson is okay. Definitely whiffed by Noah Igbenogany. Miss after miss that I've made multiple videos, and I'm probably going to make more videos about Chris Grier and how he's failed as Miami Dolphins GM. But just for now, we're here to talk about Odell. It was fun in theory. It could have been exciting. It could have been that third option for Tua to go to. Instead, the history books will show that he was the 6th option when he left. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Jonnu Smith, and even Malik Washington was getting more looks there at the end and certainly has a lot more explosiveness and more fire lit underneath him to perform at a high level than Odell Beckham Jr. does. It's disappointing. It's another wide receiver wearing the number 3 for the Miami Dolphins that has failed, but I'm glad that the Dolphins, at the very least, accepted what they did wrong, just like with David Long Jr. David Long wasn't necessarily a wrong signing, but he was not playing up to the standard that we needed for this defense. So the Dolphins let him go, brought in a replacement. Odell Beckham Jr. not playing to the standard that this offense requires. He's going to be let go, and a younger player like Malik Washington, or even maybe a Grant DuBose, who's supposed to be coming back from IR, he can step into a small enough role on this Dolphins team. We need some more energy, more intensity on this offense. We need people that are hungry to win and hungry to prove themselves, and that certainly is not Odell Beckham Jr. Let me know what you think of Odell's tenure with the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, it wasn't great. What were your thoughts when we brought him in? Pretty disappointing for me that he did not pan out as a Miami Dolphin. So let me know your thoughts about Odell Beckham Jr. down below in the comments. Also, go check out Green Gridiron. They got a fantastic sale over there right now. Get yourself some replica helmets, regular size or miniature helmets like I have here. They got a deal out right now. Tiered savings. You spend so much, you get to save so much. So go check out Green Gridiron. Link down below to do so. While down there, also hit that like button. Hit that sub button. Appreciate y'all very much for watching. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great rest of your day. Go Dolphins.